Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. It takes a great man to be a good listener. We cannot do everything at once, but we can do something at once. Industry, thrift, and self-control are not sought because they create wealth, but because they create character. To live under the American Constitution is the greatest political privilege that was ever accorded to the human race. Patriotism is easy to understand in America. It means looking out for yourself by looking out for your country. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. The government of a country never gets ahead of the religion of a country. There is no dignity quite so impressive, and no independence quite so important, as living within your means. Collecting more taxes than is absolutely necessary is legalized robbery. When more and more people are thrown out of work, unemployment results. The business of America is business. We do not need more intellectual power, we need more moral power. We do not need more knowledge, we need more character. We do not need more government, we need more culture. We do not need more laws, we need more religion. The people cannot look to legislation generally for success. The best help that can be given to the youth of this country is to give them an opportunity to work. It is much more important to kill bad bills than to pass good ones. We do not have to wait for things to be handed to us. We can create our own opportunities. Economy is the method by which we prepare today to afford the improvements of tomorrow. Duty is not collective, it is personal. When large numbers of men are unable to find work, unemployment results. Civilization and profit go hand in hand. No nation ever had an army large enough to guarantee it against attack in time of peace, or ensure it of victory in time of war. The strength of a country is the strength of its religious convictions. The man who builds a factory builds a temple, and the man who works there worships there. If we expect others to respect our rights, we must respect theirs. The only way I know to drive out evil from the country is by the constructive method of filling it with good. Don't expect to build up the weak by pulling down the strong. We do not need more material development, we need more spiritual development. It is hard to see how a great people can exist without great ideals. No method of procedure has ever been devised by which liberty could be divorced from self-government. The foundations of freedom are already placed deeply in our institutions. They rest upon the character of our people. We cannot improve the condition of the people or the character of the people by passing laws. The things we need most are not in the power of government to give. We do not have to wait for some far-off time or some great catastrophe to show us our duty. It is not the enactment, but the observance of laws, that creates the character of a nation. It is difficult for men in high office to avoid the malady of self-delusion. They are always surrounded by worshippers. They are constantly assured of their greatness. They live in an artificial atmosphere of adulation and exultation which sooner or later impairs their judgment. They are in grave danger of becoming careless or arrogant. The man who does not make himself worthy of an office cannot hold it on a permanent basis. No plan of centralization has ever been adopted which did not result in bureaucracy, tyranny, inflexibility, reaction, and decline. There is no escaping the fact that when the taxation of large incomes is excessive, they tend to disappear. A government which lays taxes on the people not required by urgent public necessity and sound public policy is not a protector of liberty, but an instrument of tyranny. Wealth comes from industry and hard work, and from these alone. A sound economy is built upon individual effort, personal responsibility, and national integrity. It is necessary to have party organization, but it is not necessary to submit to party control. A sound and stable currency is one of the greatest instruments of prosperity. It is one thing to build up industry, it is another thing to regulate it to the point of destruction. No method of taxation has ever been devised that does not react upon the prosperity of the whole country. Governments do not create wealth, they consume it. The chief business of the American people is business. The country has learned that it must keep out of foreign entanglements, avoid the quarrels of Europe, and maintain its peace and security by its own efforts. The government cannot relieve from toil. It can provide no substitute for the rewards of labor. It cannot be generous except with what it takes from the people. The man who puts the most into his work gets the most out of it. The only way I know to drive out darkness is to bring in light. Prosperity is only an instrument to be used, not a deity to be worshipped. The measure of success is not merchandise, but character. If we do not develop a moral and spiritual vision to guide our policies, then all our scientific and economic progress will be in vain. Character is the only secure foundation of the state. There is no dignity quite so impressive, and no independence quite so important, as living within your means. The true source of America's greatness is not in her wealth, but in the character of her people. We cannot build a sound prosperity upon unsound principles. There is no force so democratic as the force of an idea whose time has come. Our government belongs to the people. There is no justification for extravagance, either in public or private affairs. The world is full of educated derelicts. The best method of education is not what a government provides, but what a person does for himself. The best thought in the world is reserved for the people who think. There is no advancement to be found in envy. There is no power so potent as the power of example. The foundations of society rest upon the individual. The fate of America cannot depend on any one man. The greatness of America is the greatness of her people. The rights of the individual are the foundation of all true progress. The things that make a nation great are the same things that make an individual great. The measure of a man's success is not his wealth but his character. Government cannot make people good, it can only prevent them from being bad. True leadership is in service, not in domination. Character is the foundation of national greatness. The government should not undertake to do what individuals can do for themselves. The real cure for poverty is industry and thrift. The best security for a nation is the virtue of its citizens. In the long run, those who do not work cannot expect to eat. Democracy is not merely a form of government, it is a spirit of equality, liberty, and brotherhood. Self-government means self-respect. Civilization is built on self-control. The heritage of America is the heritage of a free people who have made themselves what they are.